The following is a RockRadioShow.com exclusive.
You think you know me?
On this day, I see clearly everything has come to life. A better place in a broken dream.
Welcome back to The Wreck right here on WildTalkRadio.com, brought to you by our friends over at Wrestling Figure Wednesdays, youtube.com/MBG1211 for all your action figure needs. Joining us right now is one of the all-time great performers in WWE history. He is, in fact, a WWE Hall of Famer and now has become one of the stars of the hit sci-fi television series Haven. Please welcome the proud new papa, Adam Edge Copeland. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I like the proud new papa. That was good. That's the best part of the intro, I think.
Oh, well, glad we made you happy. So how's fatherhood treating you?
It's amazing. It's all of the cliches that people talk about and that movies show. It is all of those things, and you have much less sleep, and you will have poop on your hands, and all of that stuff. But it's awesome. What has been really was a change this year was having a baby and then maintaining these hours. That's been a challenge, but it's been good. So, I mean, if I look a little bit more tired this season on Haven, that's the reason.
Got it. Good to know. So, you guys you're going into season 5 for Haven. So can you kind of give us a little bit of a teaser about the season and maybe tell us what kind of things we can expect from Dwight?
A lot happens. It's pretty crazy how the landscape of the town completely changes from the first episode to the episode that kind of breaks up, which might be season 5 or season 5A. I don't know how they're going to air it, but the entire town, the landscape of it changes from the first episode to the 13th. And we're currently about to start filming the 17th episode. So it's really it's kind of crazy when I think back, especially to when Dwight first came in the show, how much has changed, not only to the town, but especially to him as a character. It's been a fun ride. Oh,
I from what I've seen, I can totally agree with that. So, you mentioned how Dwight has evolved, from season 2 to now season 5. Can you kind of maybe describe that to people who haven't watched the show or aren't as familiar with the show and how you feel that evolution has gone?
Well, initially, I don't think anyone had the idea that the character would really be around that long. It was just kind of one of those cross-promotion. WWE SmackDown airs right before Haven. I just retired, so it fit in all of those categories. And then I think both parties, Haven and myself, realized, wow, we might have a little something here. Who knows? Come season 2, they were amazing, letting me grow as an actor and then into this character too. And they really wrote toward that and helped me get comfortable with this whole process. Because I hadn't done much acting before this, so they were very kind to me. And this year I had a lot more heavy lifting placed, on me, and I was ready for it. I feel like I was ready for it. And if that had happened the first season, I would not have been. So it was very nice of them and kind of them to let me mature in this aspect of entertainment, compared to what I was, used to doing.
Right. And so that must have been a cool day for you when you got that phone call, I guess, from the producers where they said, hey, we're going to take you from being a guest star to a regular on the show. Yeah.
Every time I kind of get surprised, it becomes, from cleaner to chief of police. And it's been a nice growth. It didn't happen overnight. It was, letting me get comfortable with the process and even just comfortable with the crew and the cast and getting that rapport. That's really important. And, it helps your performance. So I think they they were really, like I said, kind in just letting me kind of, figure my way and cut my teeth a little bit and hopefully just not screw it up too bad. And then once I started to feel more confident and comfortable, they gave me more responsibility, and that was nice.
Now, have some of your castmates helped you grow as an actor, and have they been giving you tips and pointers and that kind of thing?
Oh, without a doubt. I'm really spoiled, really spoiled with how awesome everybody's been with me. And I made no bones about it, though. I was completely open and said, hey, I will take any kind of guidance, constructive criticism, whatever you got, fire it my way. I'm not going to take it the wrong way, because if I want to get good at this, I have to hear everything and know things that I can improve on or things I can try. And then I'll pick their brains too. In between takes, I'll at first I would ask, well, you did this, how come? And now I'm starting to see when they did a choice, I'm like, oh, they did that. That was interesting. And kind of have an understanding of where they were coming from that choice now. So it's been really good. And also, too, just the array of actors we have, from Richard Donat and John Dunsworth and Jane Eastwood, with just this vast amount of experience and just always making different choices, to Emily and Lucas and Eric, who all go about it completely differently. It's been fascinating to just sit back and watch and share scenes with all of them, too.
What do you think has been your biggest growth as an actor over this period, become from being a guest star and not really doing much acting to becoming a regular on the show? How have you grown and evolved as an actor at this point?
Well, yeah, what I finally did in between seasons is I actually took some classes, and I think that kept the muscles flexed.
Right.
And instead of jumping right back into acting after 6 or 7 months off, it stayed. They didn't atrophy, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that was instrumental. But also just understanding, I kind of broke it down to like 3 C's. It was comfort was the first thing, and I finally started feeling that. With comfort, there came the confidence, I guess, to make choices.
Right.
And then after making the choices, then to fully commit to them. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of those 3 things that I realized I can make a choice, but if I'm going to do it, I gotta run all the way with it. I can't half-ass it. And so I think that was really what started to make a big difference for me. But first and foremost, it was comfort. And that goes back to the cast, the crew, the writers, and everybody giving me the opportunity to get comfortable. If I hadn't got comfortable, then it would have been something I would have walked away from by now.
Right.
Now, you mentioned that you took classes. Was there anything that you were able to bring over from your time working with WWE and kind of performing in front of live crowds and pulling emotions from live crowds that you were able to use as you grew as an actor, or has that not had as much of an effect?
I mean, it definitely does. You're in front of a camera no matter what.
Right.
So that is always the same. And there's nothing that gets you used to being in front of a camera except being in front of a camera. So, I was in front of a camera my entire adult life. So that part of it really helped me coming in. I wasn't coming in without zero experience or acting in front of a camera for the first time, because there's always an element of acting with WWE. But so that definitely lent itself. The one thing that I had to do was pull back a lot of my over-the-top mannerisms that you had to in order to translate it to someone that is, an entire town's population away from your performance in the back of a stadium.
Right.
Right.
If you're performing for 80,000 people, you have to make it big, or they aren't going to see it. So that was a big difference that I had to get used to, was kind of pulling back and making things much more subtle. But it was nice to, in some respects, it's great to have a live microphone and no net, because once you do it, it's out there and it's done, and you're making your choices, and your choices are happening as you're seeing them. And that can be amazing, but I got to admit, it's pretty nice to realize that you can try different things on a different take, and you have a script, right, and you can actually, think about some of these things after you do it once and go, wait, I think I want to try this. Or talk to the director and go, what direction did you see it? Oh, well, let's try this. And it can be much more of a community process as opposed to just going out there and you're standing in the middle of a ring by yourself with a live microphone and you have 10 minutes to fill.
Right. It's like, here's one take. I got to make it count. With acting, you could take your time and develop it.
Yeah. So that's it's great preparation because you're live theater on the round.
Right.
So when you have that under your belt, at least you can have some semblance of, okay, I can do this. I just got to get good at this new format.
Right.
Right.
So my question to you is this: do you miss performing in front of that live crowd?
That was the fun part of it. Was getting in front of the audience.
Right.
But every other aspect, no. I don't miss the travel. I don't miss the amount of pain I was in. I don't miss being on the road 250 days a year. I don't miss planes every day.
Right.
I don't miss rental cars every night. A different hotel every night at 3 o'clock in the morning after eating at Denny's at 1 in the morning. I don't miss any of that.
You partially describe my old job. I'm working the night shift there, right there. I can feel you. I can feel you eating at Denny's at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there's only so many Denny's Big Slams or whatever they're called that you can eat before you just go, oh God, give me Waffle House, and that's like, that's like, whoa, we got Waffle House tonight, great. Yeah.
It's such a treat.
Not the most luxurious. Yeah, I know, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a great gig, and like I said, the amazing aspect was the performance part, but that was half an hour of a 24-hour day.
Right.
Because that job starts as soon as you wake up in the morning and doesn't stop until you go to bed. And then you're probably getting 4 hours sleep. So it's an interesting way to make a living.
Well, at least it trained you for the 4 hours of sleep with the new child.
Yeah, now it's for different reasons.
Now he's okay with it.
Yeah, it's okay with
because it's all worth it.
Yeah, now it's much more, I can handle that a lot better than for the other reason.
So I'm curious to know, because we've seen, as we said, Dwight grow and change, from season 2 when he first appeared to now in season 5. Do you have any aspirations for the character? Is there somewhere that you would maybe like to see them take the character, or that, a particular, type of situation that you would like to act out as the character?
I can honestly say that so far in what we've filmed for this season, all of those kind of desires have answered.
All right.
Yeah, I really got to sink my teeth into some cool stuff this year that I'm really looking forward to seeing how they play out. Like some of the producers and the director, this one day in particular, said this is the type of scene that actors like dream of getting put in their lap. And I knew that was the case when I read it. I was like, whoa, this is huge. This is a big scene. This is a pivotal storyline point for the entire show, not just for this episode, but for the entire history of the show. And I thought, okay, that means I'm doing something right here. Okay, they wouldn't just give this to me if they didn't think A, I could pull it off, or B, I wasn't a character that it would make sense to do it with.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's been a fulfilling season, I guess is the best way to put it.
So it's safe to say that, either your favorite scene or your favorite episode happens this season?
Yeah, definitely. Because there's just so many more scenes that Dwight's in it a lot this year. So with that comes more opportunity, comes more scenes, comes more choices that you can make, and different scenarios to find the character in. So it's been really, really good in that respect. And just fun to try and pull off and try different things with it. And, so it's been really good, for me, to try and do this and then also as I'm feeling more confident, them giving me more to do, feels like a bit of an affirmation, like, okay, all right, these choices, maybe not always the best choices, but at least I'm making choices, and some of them are sticking. Right. So been a really good learning experience this year.
Now, going back and digging into your wrestling past, just a little quick second. We saw you hang out with your good buddy Christian a little while ago for the Ice Bucket Challenge, and we both saw it, and it was hilarious. So thank you for putting that out there. That was tremendous. Going back to your time working with Christian, is there any moment that truly stands out as memorable for you?
Oh, gosh. We had so many, like, to the point where we will forget sometimes.
Right.
And then someone will mention something, or like, oh, yeah, wow. It just, we were very, there was luck involved, but there was a lot of hard work involved, too. Finding ourselves in moments where we always pictured ourselves, but you never fully know if it's going to happen. But I think for probably the most memorable was the first time we won the tag team titles,
right,
and sitting on top of a table, across two ladders at WrestleMania, doing what we said we were going to do when we were wrestling in his parents' side yard, jumping off a washing machine onto a mattress,
Yeah.
And so I think that would be the biggest one. But then we also found ourselves, like, years later, I'm teaming with Hulk Hogan and he's teaming with Lance Storm, and he's, Hulk Hogan's doing the Hulk up on him, and I've just tagged Hulk Hogan in for the Hulk up, and we're like, just how did we get here?
Pretty surreal.
Yeah, it's really crazy when we've sat down and someone, people have said, so what's the story with you guys? And we're like, well, so here it is. We met in the 6th grade because of a Ninja Star. We went to high school together. We lived together in college, started wrestling together, went wherever we could and wrestled in barns and ate cans of tuna that we opened with a key, and, on 40-hour bus rides, and made it to the WWE, won the tag team titles more than anybody else in history, and both became world champions. And fathers within 6 weeks of each other to little girls. I mean, it's crazy.
It doesn't get any better than that, honestly.
Well, it's just so nuts when I say it back to someone, and they kind of sit there with their jaw dropping more and more and more, like, that's crazy. It's not real.
Right.
But it was.
So I'm curious, was that completely coincidental that you guys had kids within 6 weeks of each other, or was that planned?
Yeah, we didn't call each other and say, you ready? You ready? Let's go. No, it was completely coincidental. I was doing some promotional stuff for Sci-Fi, actually, and I was in New York for an upfront presentation. And I was in my hotel room, and we had found out that we were pregnant, and I was like, okay, I have to tell someone. It's technically too early to tell someone, but if I'm going to, I need to be able to, if anything does go wrong, have someone to talk to about it. And I was like, well, Jay's going to be the guy I talk to. So I called him, and I was standing in the bathtub of my hotel room because it had an amazing view, but only from the bathtub. So I'm sitting there staring at the Empire State Building going, wow, that's beautiful. He picks up the phone. I said, so guess what? And he goes, what? I said, well, we're pregnant. He goes, and then just silence. And I was like, oh, gosh, all right. And he goes, well, guess what? And I'm like, come on. And sure enough, they were pregnant too. And both had little girls. So it's just nuts.
So the question I have is, have you guys taught your daughters the 5-second pose yet?
No, nor will we. If they stumble upon it by themselves, then great. But I think we've already earmarked them for Prime Minister and President.
All right.
Nice.
Fair enough. So, I'm curious to know, to kind of just ask this, because recently I live in Atlanta and Dragon Con just happened. Which, if you've never been to Dragon Con, it's an absolutely awesome event. You should totally go. So, being associated with Haven and Sci-Fi, they like to do a lot of the cons. Are we going to see you begin to maybe pick up the Comic-Con circuit anytime soon, or is that something you're just not interested in?
I don't know. Possibly, but, it's over the years I've done so many wrestling-oriented ones that it's like I don't ever want to get burned out on them.
Right.
And, so if the opportunity's right, I guess, but, yeah, never say never, right? But and I'm sure I am a comic book guy, so it seems like a natural fit. And anytime I've gone, I've had fun. But I don't think I'd want to make it like a circuit or anything.
Right. Totally understandable. And in that time, with doing all the autograph signings and everything that you've done in your career, I really have to know, and this is kind of a stock standard question that we ask everybody, but I just have a feeling you'll have a really good answer. What's the oddest thing a fan has ever given you?
Oh gosh, I've had batches of cookies baked and sent to me with notes saying that they're coming to the house and they can't wait to start our lives together, and the kids can't wait to meet you, and like really kind of out there stuff to where you're like, whoa, someone actually believes all of this.
Right.
So there's moments like that where it can kind of derail your thought process for a minute, like, man, come on, like, where's your grasp on reality? However, then there's some amazing stuff, and fans will give you artwork that just really neat ideas and took the time to create something with a character, to create the likeness of a character that you helped kind of see to fruition. That had to have taken them hours and days and weeks, and kind of pour their heart into. And those are always the things that I love. Like some amazing artwork that I've collected over the years from fans. It's just cool stuff, and there's part of you that goes, man, I feel like an egomaniac holding on to these things that are essentially drawn of you, but they're just so cool. You got to hold on to them because someone put a lot of work into them too. Right.
As an artist, I can understand that.
So. Yeah. But I think though one of the things that is always I've found interesting is when people have my autograph tattooed on their arm, or if they've gone and gotten all the same tattoos as me.
Right.
And not as well done. So sometimes that can be a little like those tattoos mean something to me. And I drew them, so there's meaning behind them, and so you just wonder how much meaning could it have to you. Mm-hmm. So
right.
There's all kinds of interesting things you see over the years.
Okay. And last question, I promise. When we talked to you a few years ago, when you had first started with Haven, you had gotten kind of into painting, and you were really inspired by all the art galleries around Asheville. I'm curious to know, do you still do your art? Do you still have time for it, or has it kind of gone by the wayside?
This year I did some because we redesigned our home in New York, and so I kind of went off, and before we had the baby, I was like, okay, we have to either reupholster or repaint all of our furniture, and I want to do a series of lucha paintings for that wall. It just became like this. I got home from Haven, and that's all I did for 2 months. And then we had the baby, and then it stopped. Right. Because then, it's the baby. So it's still always there. Now it's just a matter of having the time.
Right.
Right. Well, Adam, I know you have to go shoot.
I was going to say, but there is a pink fuzzy piano bench that is reupholstered now that my creative maniac side decided was a good idea this year. So there's all kinds of stuff like that now because of that.
A pink fuzzy piano bench. That's kind of awesome.
It went with the theme because we repainted the kitchen table this cream-colored white with pink trim and black, and put a sugar skull, painted that in the middle, and so it's a pretty crazy house, but in a good way, I think.
I kind of want to see it. That's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. I applaud you for that.
Collection of luchador masks. There's a lot of luchador masks and a lot of strange things in our house in New York, but yeah. So.
Hey, you know what? As long as you like it, there's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
That's kind of how I view it. So, Adam, I want to say thank you so much. I know you have to get to shooting the show. So, once again, thank you for joining us. Everybody remember, you can catch Haven every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Sci-Fi.
Yes, indeed.
You're listening to The Rack on WildTalkRadio.com, and we will be right back.